I am going to be doing the brakes on our Tahoe today. I've done the brakes on our Tahoe, well, really ever since we moved to a farm and we've been broke. So it's something that I've gotten used to doing, but I still don't know exactly what I'm doing. But I'm gonna walk you through it the best I can, and hey, my brakes have always worked. And before you start to do work on your car, it's a good idea to move it to a flat surface. In our case, we live on a farm. That's not possible, so this is as flat as it gets. You also want to straighten your wheels out. It's going to be really annoying and slightly dangerous to work on your wheels when they're turned like this. So I'm going to straighten my wheels out. So before you get into jacking up your car and doing all that type of fancy work, I would suggest loosening the lug bolts on the wheel while it's on the ground. It makes it 10 times easier. Good Lord. Okay, so I've gotten those somewhat loosened, but before I jack the car up, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that my parking brake is on, and obviously that the car is in park. Okay, so you could use a regular car jack to jack up your car. I personally don't feel safe that way, so I used one of these floor jacks. Of course, I lost my handle to it a while ago. I have no idea where that went. So I'm using a crowbar as a handle here. Improvising is always nice. Okay, so after I jack it up, I always like to put it on a jack stand and not leave it sitting on the jack. Now we'll just finish taking off our lugs. Have you guys ever seen the Christmas Story where the dad is trying to change the tire on their car and he gives the son the lug nuts to hold and they get lost on the side of the road? I think of that every time I do this stuff. It's a great movie. Don't let your kids watch it. Okay, so on these calipers, you'll notice that there's a bolt on the top and the bottom on this back side here. We're gonna remove these bolts. Now, I use a 19mm socket, and my socket wrench has a long bar on a long extender bar, which enables me to break them free in the event that they're stuck. These aren't stuck. It hasn't been that long, I guess, since I've done these. After you remove those, your caliper will come off, just like so. Just kind of set that aside. With the calipers off, you just kind of need to take a screwdriver and pry out your old brake pads. I guess that one looks like it still had some decent life left in it, but sometimes they don't wear evenly, so when you're starting to hear noises and stuff, it's not, it could be the back side. Yeah, that one, the pad is thick here and gets real thin there. That's actually a sign of a bad caliper. So even with changing my rotors, I still might get some vibrations there. But that starts to like about a 1/4 inch and goes down to a 1/16. So that pad was definitely done. This one is pretty even all the way across. Been working on this star screw and it's stripped out, so nothing's working. I'm gonna have to take this to shop and have them figure out how to get that thing out of there. But I'm gonna move forward with at least replacing my pads, because I mean this definitely needs rotors, but you know, if I do the pads for now, that'll be good. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. Those are on there pretty tight. So I'm gonna use my breaker bar. Now, 18 millimeter actually works a little better. These bolts back here. All right. Now this rotor, set the caliper back up here. This rotor should just come right off. And I'm going to line up this new rotor so that little hole, this is all lined up perfectly. Just placed my start screw. Here it is. Get that on nice and tight. Okay, so that's on. Now, our new brake pads come with these new, I call them squealers, because when your brakes get low, they start squealing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace those with new ones. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this. Helps if you know which way it came off. Now, my wife actually came to me one time and said that her brakes were making a bunch of cluttering noise. And when I took it in there, it turned out that the brakes were falling apart. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my breaker bar back on and tighten these back down, because you don't want your calipers falling apart on you. Put on some new squealers. So if you guys want to see all the way through the rotors, I'll post a video I did years ago of this exact same thing up top, and you can go there and it'll show you exactly how to put on the rotors. Pull plastic off before assembly. What's going on here? So on this side. Now I have a brake toolkit here. Okay. And the way this works is you'll find the right size for your vehicle, which I don't know where that would be. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to loosen up my fluid That way when I compress my calipers, I've got room to expand. Now I get to use this fancy thingamagobber. What I need to do is compress the calipers back in so I can fit in new brake pads. So I'm going to take an old brake pad and I'm going to crank down on this tool. This is going to push my calipers back in for me. Might go over here on one side, crank that side in, come over on the other side, crank that side in, come back over here, this side a shot. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just going back and forth on the two calipers, compressing them slowly in. Now we've got our calipers pushed back in. I'm going to go ahead and take my new brake pads. Make sure they're good and clean. There we go. There's one, there's two. Now let's take our caliper and put it back on. Okay. We're just putting these bolts back in place here. And if you remember, these top bolts are 19 millimeters. Make sure we torque it down good and tight. So we've got our new rotor on, our new brake pads on. I'm going to go ahead and put the wheel back on. I just like changing a tire or changing the tractor tire. When I screw these in, I'm going to put them in across from each other and tighten down diagonally. That way I can help make sure that I'm putting my wheel on straight. The wheel on, go ahead and lower your weight slowly. And then tighten them down. Voila.